What's going on, guys? Damien Patrick here, and welcome back to the Bodybuilding Lifestyle channel, where bodybuilding is more than a hobby, it's a lifestyle. So as you can tell from the title of the video, we are talking about Anavar. And before I get into the discussion, guys, before I break it down, remember, I am not a doctor. I don't even play one on television. This is just for entertainment purposes only. We're going to go over a couple things for fun, but you got to do your own research. Consult a physician if you're considering doing PEDs. Don't listen to this guy. What does this guy know? All right, so let's get right into the Anavar video, guys. So the do's and don'ts is what we're going to be discussing. Now, before we get into that, in my opinion, Anavar is probably the most popular steroid because of social media. Also because it's built up this reputation of many years of being something that men and women can take for aesthetics, for looks. It's a little bit safer. It's just built up this reputation where a lot of more people who are deciding to trade in their natty card, they usually, first thing they want to find out about is usually Anavar. I get a lot more inquiries about Anavar than I do about testosterone. Testosterone is obviously used a lot more throughout the world because men and women are both actually on TRT these days. So yes, testosterone is used more, but somebody looking to jump to the dark side, Anavar is usually the first thing they're looking at, and they usually for many different reasons. Now, of course, Anavar, like any other steroid, will help you increase protein synthesis, help you with recovery, build lean muscle mass, all those good things, guys. Now, what you need to know if you're gonna get into that is the do's and don'ts. So we're going to cover that real quick in this short video, or I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. It's not going to be very short. So first of all, let's discuss cycle length. All right. The average cycle for somebody taking Anavar for a beginner is anywhere between 6 weeks to 8 weeks. You have more intermediate and advanced people doing 8 weeks, as high as 12, 16 weeks for competitors. Anavar has been studied in clinical settings for as long as a year. Keep that in mind. 1 year, of course, on a lower dosage. But for this video purposes, usage could be anywhere between 6 to 16 weeks, depending on your experience. Beginners should definitely do shorter cycles. My mantra when it comes to PEDs, whether or not you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, less is more, guys. Less is more. All right, shorter cycles, safer drugs, less time on, get it done, eat right, sleep, all that stuff, stack all your cards, get in, get out. All right, so less is more. So 6 to 16 weeks, beginners, less. All right, 6 to 8 weeks for cycle, men and women. All right, so now we're going to discuss how much. Now, if it is 100% farm grade Anavar, which obviously is not as easy to come by. A lot of people are using underground lab stuff. Could be 90% pure, 95% pure. That's a whole other video about UGL underground labs. But if considering it's 100% farm grade, to get plenty of results, you're only going to need 2.5 to 5 milligrams for women. Men, 25 to 50 milligrams. Plenty. All right. Daily. Now, I have seen men use 100 to 150, which I think is insane. But that's their body, their choice. I've seen women, and I know women and professionals who use a lot more, 10, 25 milligrams. So we've got our cycle length, we got our dosage amount. Now we're going to talk about the side effects. When you're jumping up, females, when you're jumping up in those high dosages, 10, 20, 25 milligrams per day, you're increasing your risk of virilization. Yes, even though Anavar is not a very androgenic steroid, it's one of the least, I shouldn't say least, but it's one of the ones that it's considered safer for women. Even though of that fact, you can still virilize. That means you can still deepen your voice. You can still grow facial hair, grow hair, body hair in general. The things that you do not want to do, or maybe you do, I don't know. That's your business, your body, your choice, like I just said. So you're increasing your chances of virilization and those higher dosages, but not only in those higher dosages, guys, on those prolonged cycles. So longer cycle, higher dosages can also be a problem. So keep that in mind. You can run 10 milligrams for 8 weeks and be fine. But once you start pushing 10 milligrams for 16 weeks, you might have a problem. So it's not just the milligrams, it's also cycle length. Now, with other side effects, the other side effects that you can find are increased liver toxicity. Yes, Anavar is not as liver toxic as, let's say, Anadrol or Superdrol or something like halotestin, in which your liver just falls out as soon as you take that stuff. Very, very liver toxic. But there is some liver toxicity. Even though Anavar is primarily metabolized through your kidneys, you will have some liver toxicity. Don't let anybody lie to you and say you won't. Of course, it's not that bad. It is safer, but you should definitely be taking some preventatives like TUDCA and NAC daily. These are vitamins you can find on Amazon. You can do research on them or your local vitamin shop. So protecting the liver, getting ahead of the problem is definitely something you should do, even though you might only be taking 2.5 or 5, whatever, milligrams. Now, you're going to also have some slight skewing of your cholesterol as well. But I want you to keep one thing in mind, guys. A couple things in mind. Number one is you should be doing your blood work before you do the cycle. See where all your values are, and then do your blood work after or in the middle and after if you can afford it, because you want to see the kind of effects this drug has had on your body. But this is what I want you to keep in mind. Steroids is not a one size fits all. So you're taking 5 milligrams of Anavar as a woman. You might have better results than the woman next to you who's taking 5 milligrams. You might have worse side effects. She might have no side effects on 5 milligrams. So I want you to keep that in mind. Even though I'm telling you these side effects, saying these side effects to you, it's not a one size fits all. All right. So keep that in mind. So we got slight increased liver toxicity, skewing of your cholesterol, virilization. These are potential side effects. And last but not least for guys, downregulation of your natural testosterone production does occur in Anavar, guys. A lot of guys want to do Anavar only cycles, which is fine with me. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I would prefer you do a test base with Anavar because you are going to experience some down regulation. It can shut you down. For example, there was a 12-week study, and I believe the guys were taking about 25 milligrams of Anavar. And after the 12 weeks, it wasn't a complete shutdown, but it was average around 40 to 50% decrease of their testosterone. So keep that in mind. Again, as I said earlier, we're going to go back to what I said earlier. Everybody's different. Everybody is different. Yes, you're going to take it and you might be Superman. You might have no problems with your testosterone. You get off the Anavar and you feel great. Then you recommend it to your buddy and he might shut down completely off of the same amount of dose. So keep that in mind, guys. It's not a one size fits all. Now, last thing I want to cover is Anavar is known for being a great fat burner, but it's technically not a fat burner, guys. You cannot take Anavar and get shredded, okay? And what do I mean like that? All right, for example, if you are somebody who's currently overweight and you're eating bad, generally every day you're eating in a calorie surplus. You don't eat in a calorie deficit. You never do, and you're overweight. You take Anavar and you don't change anything. You're gonna put on muscle, but now you're gonna put on muscle and fat at the same time. So you're going to increase your weight. You're not going to get shredded. All right. You have to be in a caloric deficit, guys. Anavar does technically, it can help free up some thyroid, which can help with fat burning, but you cannot consider it a fat burner, which is people get confused with that because a lot of people will take Anavar and they get leaner and they look more vascular. Most of the time, those people are probably already eating in a calorie deficit. They're already training hard. So when they take the Anavar, everything is clicking together. If you want to get lean and shredded, or you want to just drop fat, you still got to diet. You got to do some cardio, but at least you got to diet because the Anavar is not going to do it by itself. It's just going to do what most steroids do and help you build lean muscle, help you recover. All right, guys. So that is it. That's my video on Anavar. I can keep going, but I don't want to keep the video too long. So remember, we got cycle length, we got cycle amount. There is side effects for both men and women, and some of those side effects cross over. Remember, your side effects are not the next person's side effects. Your gains are not going to be the next person's gains. We all respond differently to steroids, okay? Very differently sometimes, believe it or not. And you should do your blood work. If you can't do your blood work, I recommend doing your blood work. If you're considering doing steroids, you should always do your blood work. Keep that in mind. Last but not least, you can't get shredded if you're not dieting, if you're not doing your cardio. And remember my mantra, less is more, guys. All right, smash the thumbs up button. Hope you enjoyed the video on Anavar. If you have some questions, shoot it down below and I will respond as soon as possible.